Well, I just want you to imagine something here. My first job ever, I was 25 years old. And the reason for that is, as most of you all know, I worked for myself since I left college pretty much, so forever. Look, I had to get a job at one point, even though for me it's worst case scenario, and I'm not one of these anti 9 to 5 guys. I'm really not, but it doesn't align with my goals. So me working a job like that, any job, doesn't sit right with me. That's why I'm against it. I'm not against it. I don't think there's any shame in any 9 to 5ers. I think most people should be in a 9 to 5. When I came to start needing a job, I needed one because I had no central heating. I spent my last £1,000 on Facebook ads because I had a big bill to pay. Now, I lost all the money on the Facebook ads and I had to go without heating for a little bit because the boiler broke at the same time. I couldn't fix the boiler. And that's when I knew, it's time to get a fucking job. Theo, it's time to get a job, right? So my friend at the time was actually doing parcel delivery for a company called Every, right, in the UK. And because you get paid per parcel, the hourly rate can actually be much higher than the minimum wage, right? So my friend was doing around £30 an hour. Fucking throwing parcels over fences and shit like that. He was like the worst delivery driver. He'd be on Facebook groups in where he's from for throwing parcels over the fence. But how it's set up, it's a bullshit company anyway. I mean, he's only delivering cheap shit. So I didn't say anything wrong with it. But he was telling me to do it. So I went and got a van, a little Citroen Berlingo, white one. It was just an old van. Now, I'm driving around in this van, and both the wing mirrors are smashed. It's beat to death. And at this point, I'm just working and working and working. I've got 2 jobs. So I'm working in a warehouse on a night time from 3:30 till 9:30 p.m. And then on the morning time, I'm doing this delivery job. Now, this delivery job on a Sunday, they did double the rates. Now, for me, my plan of action, if I ever have to get a job like this, is to get as much cash together as fast as possible and then move on to my next business, which is what I did, right? And just to sort of give you an idea of why this was so hard, some people might be watching this thinking, oh, fucking what, you got a job, big deal, right? Well, 6 months prior, I was making 15 to 20k dollars a month in net profit. I'd learned a lot of high income skills, and look, I'm not new to bullshit work. I've done a lot of bullshit work, believe me. I made a lot of sacrifices at a young age in order to have a business, and I really made a success out of myself, right? And I went from earning money like that. I had the office that I always wanted. I had the clout. I love the clout. I'm not gonna lie, I love clout. I had the clout from, being young and running my own business. I was 23 making this money, started with nothing, had the car that I wanted. And, I had a lot of friends. This is the big flex, when you've got a lot of friends and people are inviting you places and you're well known. I'm not saying I'm super well known, right? But, I had a lot of good friends around me. People wanted to be around me. My life was going well. And, if any of you are following my story, you sort of know a little bit about what happened. But essentially, I was doing this job one day, and this is where I really realised the level of how my life was bad. So I lost everything and had to get a job and went back to zero, right? Well, a much more less than zero, but I'll touch on that on a later day, right? And I'm doing this delivery driver job because I needed the money. I had nowhere else to turn to. I had to get a job because I had no fucking heating. Yeah, I had no fucking heating, and I'm not playing the fucking victim. I only had no heating for a couple of months, but at the time, with all that was going on, it was hard. It was real hard. And I'm doing this job one Sunday because it's double the rates, and I'm like, look, the more work I do, the faster I get out of it. So I'm just going to do as much as I can. So I'm working on Sunday. So you're getting double the rates for delivering a parcel. It's like £1 a parcel instead of 50p. Yeah, so. And when I've got the parcels in the back of the van, the guys who run the depot, they just want the parcels out. So they just tell you, oh yeah, it's easy round. And you get on it, and it's just the biggest bullshit thing you've ever done in your entire life. And I'm delivering these parcels on a Sunday night. And in the back of the van, it gets even more dark because there's no windows in the van, is there? And I've gone to this area that I've never been to this area before, never delivered the area, don't know the streets. And I'm driving around, and it's sort of getting darker, and the labels are getting harder to read. And I'm struggling to find the fucking parcels, yeah. and I'm looking for that because you got to read the label, and I've got them all in these boxes, and you're like pulling the parcels, and they're jammed on something, and I was just so angry from it. I was getting angered, and this was like the sunniest Sunday you've ever seen in your life. Like, it was spitting with rain. There was no clouds in the sky, but it was getting very dark, and it was quite cold. And I'm driving around these streets I've never been, and every single house I went to, they're all, it's Sunday, it's like 7 p.m, everyone's watching TV, and it sort of just reminded me of what my situation was like. Like, at this time, a lot of my friends stopped talking to me because I was just so negative to be around. I had so much personal stuff going on, I had no money, and I didn't see a way out of the situation that I was in. But I was like, look, I need this money, I have to work. And as it was getting darker, it was getting harder to find the parcels. And the thing is, you get paid per parcel. So we're getting to the point where I was getting actually paid less than minimum wage. So I was in a rush to deliver them before the dark. And I was in a rush to deliver them, so I was actually getting an hourly rate that was minimum wage. And at the same time, I can't just say, fuck this job, because I need the money. I'm in this situation where I need the cash. So I'm fighting against the clock. I'm fighting to deliver the parcels. I'm getting stressed out because every parcel I pull out the back, it gets jammed on something. And I'm just getting angry. Kicking the fuck out of these parcels. I don't know what some of these people must have been thinking. Like, imagine just someone having a Sunday dinner and they've looked out the window and there's me sat in a van at the end of the drive just kicking the fuck out of the parcels. And they're watching TV with a family. And I was getting so angry. And look, it just got to the point when I just had to call it. And I didn't deliver most of the parcels. I'm just there kicking fuck outs and fucking 24-pack of toilet roll I've ordered off TikTok shop. And, yeah, and then, look, I was just real struggling. And I ended up getting the torch out on my phone, but I just had to call it. I had to call it. And I remember I got home that night and I just realised, like, how far I really am away from where I need to be. From where I was and how far away I am just from a normal life. Like, I'm driving around and everybody's got the TV on. Like, everybody's chilling on a Sunday. I'm out here delivering parcels on my own. And I'm feeling like, how the fuck has my life got to this? Where my life compared to even a normal person is just like nothing. And at that point, I looked at my life and I was like, fuck, how am I ever going to get out of this? And at the time, I couldn't see it. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I'm going to share with you 3 things that I did to navigate out of my darkest times. And just to give you some perspective, I'm not jumping on this video like I've made it, yeah? But I'm moving to a different country next month, the other side of the world. And to be in the position to be able to do that, like, Jesus Christ, where I came from a couple of years ago, year and a half ago, to be able to go do that now, it's like a million miles away. It really is. And just how I feel about every day, like, I'm off to my friend's engagement party right now, literally right now. I've just got ready, and look, I wouldn't have been able to even do this. I wouldn't have been able to go to a room. Like, I don't know anyone here. I only know him and his girlfriend a little bit. And there's 20, 30 people there, and I feel great going. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to talk to people. My head and how I felt about my life was that fucked, right? From living like that, yeah? Where I wouldn't have been able to even go do that. So the fact that I'm doing that, I'm moving across the world in a couple of weeks, like, such a night and day difference. So look, there's 3 things that I focused on. Now, the first thing is, your mental health is everything. Now, one thing that I will say is, I'm a big guy, improve your mental health, yeah, all that stuff, yeah, but I don't believe in going fucking talking about it. I don't believe in going and fucking talking about your problems, like, because listen, this is the slippery slope you get into, and this is what I fell for. Every time I'd see a friend, I'd start describing my problems, because what I was looking for somebody to help me. I was looking for somebody to give a little bit of advice, but in doing so, I was describing my problem and I was explaining it. And what the words that I was saying, the verbiage that I was using was, I lost, this happened. And the way I was talking like it was a final event. I lost, I lost, I lost. You're saying lost, finished, that's done. So I was building this identity of a loser. When before, I was never that person. I was never that, I was the opposite of that person, right? And I built this identity of a loser. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? I started fucking losing. Losing in every area of my life. Because I started identifying as it. Because I started speaking it. I started believing it. So that is the first thing. Watch what you're speaking and how you're speaking about yourself. Right? You must be very, very conscious of how you're speaking. Because how you speak and how you think affects your actions. And your actions affects your reality. So when you're thinking about negative things, and this is what I was also doing, when your mind and your mental health is bad, the problem is you blow things out of proportion, right? So let's say you make £1,000 from a sale, you'll completely ignore it, right? But if you stub your toe on the fucking table, it's the end of the world and your fucking day's ruined. Honestly, I've been there. Maybe not that extreme, but you understand the concept of what I'm saying. This is what you do when your mental health is bad. So, you know, like when your mental health's good, you're making money, relationships are good, you've got lots of friends, everything's going well, you could get hit by a car and you'll get up and laugh. And that's for real, that's the crazy thing about it. So the mental health is number one. There's a few things that you can do to affect that. One, get out of fucking isolation, right? Because isolation, that's where your problems start popping up. And your mind will start suggesting problems, right? So I think, right, I've sat on my own for a month straight. There'd be an idea that'd pop up, a seed that'd go, I'm socially awkward. And then over and over and over again, you're actually socially awkward. And then my mind's looking for clues to back up my belief of why I'm socially awkward. When in reality, I go ask every one of my friends, they all said I'm confident and my self-belief is off the charts. And I convince myself of not only things that aren't true, but things that are completely against my true character. And that's all from bad mental health. So when I started looking at my mental health and how I'm speaking to myself and my habits again, started meditating again, started reading again, started planning my day again, started thinking, right, I need to take some time to myself, meditating, not talking about my problems, not saying I lost, not talking about my problems and justifying why I'm in a mess every time I meet somebody. That's when I made the difference. I changed how I thought about myself. That's when I made a real difference. Right? Now, number two, perspective. I had to put things into perspective. I was a delivery driver and I paid £3,000 to go into a mastermind in Dubai because I needed to meet some successful people. I wasn't even necessarily bothered about the information in the mastermind, but I needed to be around some people that are successful. And the reason for that is because I was walking around acting like a victim, and I spoke to a guy. His name was Adam Nasir. Shout out that guy. Richest guy I've ever met in my entire life. And I had the opportunity to speak with him for about an hour and a half on this boat. You know, I'm talking about... Listen, I went on a business class flight to Dubai, right? Whilst I was an every delivery driver, because I had air miles that I paid for a mastermind. But at the time I was an every delivery driver. So I'm not talking like I'm on yachts in Dubai all the time. But at this time I was. Anyway, I was speaking to this guy. Net worth of $40 million. And I'm saying, I lost everything, I went back to zero. And he was telling me about, he's gone back to zero multiple times. And I thought, who the fuck am I to sit here, getting upset and acting like I've had a hard time when he's lost it multiple times, and it's my first time. And I walked away from that conversation, and it put things into perspective for me. And I started thinking, like, look, you're fucking sitting here crying when you could be getting up and back at it and getting into the position that you need to be in. So by all means, pay to be in the room, travel across the world, do whatever you need to do to get some perspective. Go and speak to the people that are in the position that you're trying to get to, and go and ask for their opinion. Right? Go and speak to them. Go and speak to them. Now, this is going to take me on to my next thing, and this is social skills. This is number 3. Look, I was able to network with multi-decker millionaires whilst I was a fucking every delivery driver. And that isn't because of my fucking financial status, because I was broke as fuck at the time, yeah? It was because I know how to speak. Now, there was a time when I first went into my first monk mode, grind mode. My second office was under a 200-year-old building, right? And there was a roller shutter and a gate and a police response alarm. And I used to go into this building underground, no central heating, rats down there, There was no windows. I used to feel like Bruce Wayne, but I was walking around like an autistic little chap because I couldn't speak to anybody. And I used to go to the gym and not even be able to look people in the eyes and say, "Hi, how are you?" And that's when I realised that I've just given myself social issues. And I came on this challenge to start speaking to people. And this is especially a problem for the Make Money Online and the young guys in 2025 and beyond, because everyone's got this dream of the online money because it gives the freedom. But what they don't understand is when you're in pursuit of that and before you're actually earning the money, you've got the opposite of freedom. You've got complete anti-freedom. That's not the right word, but you've got no freedom whatsoever. And until you're making money, you're sat in pain, struggling, you've got personal life issues going on, and it's very tempting to just keep on that laptop and keep learning. But the problem is you stop developing as a man. You stop developing your social skills, you stop developing your friends, you stop developing relationships. And what ends up happening when you go without this stuff for so long, it's like a muscle. You forget how to do it. So I had to confront that when I was at the point where I couldn't even say to someone, "How are you?" And I had to confront that. But now I can walk to a room of 30 people, 30 people I've just met, or I don't even know, and I can speak to everybody, no problem. Go on my own, go across the world on my own, move to a different country on my own. I'm not 1% nervous about moving across the country on my own because I've got this skill. When you have this skill of social skills, it opens up the world to you. The world to you. You can move to a different country like that. Easy. Take me anywhere. I'm fine. Because I know how to talk to people. And that is the flex. Being the guy that can talk to anybody. Fuck how much money you can make, yeah? For real. Fuck how much money you can make. Learn how to speak to people. Learn how to be that type of person that people want to be around. That's the flex. That is the flex. So yeah, look, hope that helped, guys. I need to set off because I'm actually very late. And let me just show you something. This is a ironing board in the mirror. Yeah. So, end of the day, what do you know about that? Not much.